Hey everybody, Matt from homeownerpal.com. Today we're going to be installing these fancy little color changing lights to replace the two lights that I have in my garage right now. Right now I have the typical garage light fixture and I'm trying to convert the garage into like a theater slash game room for the kids as cheap as possible. So I think these lights are going to be a pretty cool little addition. I'm going to end up having some paint issues and some sheetrock issues possibly, but I'll deal with that later. I think these lights will look really cool in there though. Go to homeownerpal.com, check out all the cool stuff we're building for you guys. The My Home feature that just launched it's a really cool tool for homeowners, okay? So go on there and check it out, and let's get started. Well, this is why it's important that you check the stuff you buy before you buy it. So I should have checked this at Home Depot. This light is in okay condition. This one is obviously broken. So I got to run to Home Depot and fix this. I'm going to go get it replaced. There were plenty on the shelf, and I will open it before I leave this time, okay? And then we'll be back at it. All right, so I went and got this one replaced. They didn't have any more of the white trims. I didn't even know they had a black trim, or else I would have gotten both of them black. But because I got a black and a white, I'm just gonna roll with it because it looks cool and we'll make it look intentional. So these look really easy to install. They have these, they're called Wagos. I think that's what they're called. Anyways, you just strip your wire and you snap them into place. I don't really like using these, but I'm just gonna use them depending on the box that we have mounted in our ceiling. And I'll explain that as we go further. But with the bracket, it's actually really cool. It slides in here and then just slides right out. And then you would install this in your ceiling. And then on your box, you got a hole here, you would mount the holes in your box. And then you wire everything up and then you just slide the light on and twist it on. Pretty cool, huh? Let's go take the other lights down. Tools we're gonna need for this: impact driver, 11-in-1, tick tester, strippers that I don't really like, but I don't have my good ones because my guy stole them, and lineman's pliers. Again, you can find all of these tools except for these strippers. You can find the good ones that I love on our website. We don't get any, it didn't cost you any extra, and we're not sponsored by any of these companies, but we trust these products. We've used them in the field, and if you buy them off of our website, then we do get a kickback from Amazon. So if you guys do need tools, and you need tools you can trust, go to homeownerpal.com and look at the recommended tools section. We also have material on there that we've used and that we trust, okay? Thank you, guys. All right, please don't judge my garage. I'm still in the middle of converting it. There's a lot of work. Anyways, so the reason I was talking about the sheetrock and paint is most likely this was painted after this light went up. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But these lights, typically they'll have toggle bolts. Toggle bolt is it's a long screw that has a little flange on the end of it, and basically you drill a hole in the sheetrock and you slide it up, and that little flange goes into the sheetrock, and then you screw the screw down and the flange comes down and makes contact with the sheetrock, so it holds it tight and snug. It's best for installing lights like these, unless you're right on line with a truss, which I doubt this is. So those holes will be exposed. Well, at least this one will. If the box is here, the electrical box, which we're about to find out, when you take these bulbs down, you got to be really careful, because if they fall and break, they go boom. So try not to break fluorescent light bulbs, okay? Unless you're doing it intentionally. All right, I would assume everybody knows how to install and uninstall these light bulbs, but basically you just twist it until the little prong meets that little gap right there, and then you pull it out, and then you're gonna do the same. You should be able to twist them either way. Do the same with the other one, and again, they go boom if you break them, so don't drop them. All right, the way this works is this little clip right here. You should be able to twist it, and then it drops it, and then those little prongs just slide in there. So we got a screw here, looks like a toggle bolt. Screw here, looks like a toggle bolt. And our wire is coming from here, which worries me. So we will go ahead and take this down and see what we're working with. So this is the wire coming from our light switch, okay? I have the light switch off, so we'll test it just to make sure. The black wires, they're good. So notice there's two Romex wires coming through here. So I would assume one comes from my switch over here, comes up through the attic, hits here, and then the other one bounces over to our other light over here, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is disconnect our ground so we don't have any issues. We tested power, it is off. Take our wire nuts off. And we will take our lineman's pliers and take these joints apart. Okay, so we've got one wire here. This goes to our ballast. We don't need any of these little wires anymore. But we'll separate these. This is going to be a pain, but we'll get to that. So if these are toggle bolts, which they are, they're covered in foam because I had my ceiling foamed, my attic foamed. So that's why that was easy to take out. Usually you would have to pull down on the fixture itself whilst you're unscrewing it in order to fight against that little flange that's up there, but that flange is covered in foam right now. So, all right, our screws are out. It's probably foamed into place. This little connector is what's bugging us now. So we're gonna have to make that connector go away. Okay, so there is no box, which isn't necessarily a good thing. So we're gonna have to improvise. All right, so these wires are in line, so we're in luck, at least in that aspect. So notice how there's only one wire in here. It's because it's just like we thought. It comes from our switch, goes up through the attic, lands there, and then the wire comes over here. Now, we're gonna have to improvise some type of box in here. Don't really know how we're gonna do this yet. We'll think on the fly and come up with something, because there is plywood all over, up above in the attic. This is where you store everything in my attic. So short from removing all that plywood, which I really don't wanna do, I don't know what it looks like in here. So we will get very creative on this one. Okay, so here's what we're gonna try first. We're gonna take our trim screwdriver. We're gonna stick it up here, see if we didn't hit any wood. So that's a positive sign, at least on this side so far. We have foam coming out of these holes, so it tells me maybe there isn't plywood above this. So we're gonna go up in the attic real quick and see if we can't see that trim screwdriver up there, and that'll let us know if we have access or not. Aha, so here's our screwdriver. Our wire is right here. So this is a good sign. It's right next to a truss. So this is gonna be pretty easy to do. We just have to get a box and screw it into the truss, and we should be good. So I'm gonna go back down and find the other one now. All right, now we're gonna do our same little trick over here. Okay, didn't hit wood, that's a good sign. Let's go back up in the attic. Okay, so we're gonna look where it is. Puts us right over there. Should put us right over there. Now we just need to get over there. Forgive the mess. It is an attic. This one may be covered. I suspect this white wire right here is our light. So let's get in here, find out. Keeps going. Looks like it goes this way. There's our screwdriver. Bingo. Okay, so this is perfect. This is a perfect case scenario here. So I can basically, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get two boxes. Oh, there goes the screwdriver. Didn't know what it was down there. I'm gonna have to get two boxes, and then I'm gonna trace them out on the ceiling, and then we're gonna cut them out and then remove the nails and everything and put them up in the sheetrock and then screw them to this truss on both sides. Should be good. Special note, this is open cell foam. I don't mind tearing this up, because when they put this down, I didn't have a mini split in my garage. So they assumed that the whole garage needed to be insulated, because the whole point is that the AC down low is supposed to seep up through the sheetrock and then keep all of this from getting mold and mildew on it. So I don't need this on the on the sheetrock here in my garage because I have a mini split in there cooling the garage down, okay? So it's not like I'm just tearing things up just to tear things up. I don't really need it. All right, most likely, if they were decent electricians, they stapled these wires down here. Maybe not. Yeah, that could be a staple. So you're gonna want to pop that staple off in order to get these wires up. Yeah, there it is. So they didn't staple it very tight, but it is stapled. I can see the staple right there. So here's my wires. Here's my staple. No more staple. Now here's our hole. And we know that this measures right because it lines up, so it's perfect. So we'll go to the other side right now. All right. I'm gonna find this wire. She's right here. She's stapled a little bit tighter, so we're gonna have to pop the staple out first. I don't have anything to grip on. Let's see. Where's our staple? You don't want to puncture your wire. You want to be really careful when you're doing anything like this, not to damage your wire. Okay. So wire. This is what's called a cut-in box. Typically you would have these little flanges on these screws here, and then you would cut the sheetrock out up to these. So you would trace this out just up to this. So then this sits flush with the sheetrock, and then you would tighten the screw down, and then this flange will pop out and then come all the way down and hold against the sheetrock, kind of like the toggle bolts do. But we're not going to use that feature since we know where our stud is or our truss is. All right, this is my hole. This is my truss, right? It's running right along the side of that hole. So I know that, so I don't need a level. I don't need anything. It's right here. I can feel it. So I know that the edge of my box needs to be about here. I mean, it's good to be as straight as possible. I'm usually pretty good at telling. You also want your box to be about halfway on the halfway mark. So let's say we'll put it right here on the edge. Okay, that looks a little crooked to me, so we'll straighten it out. Sometimes I'm good at telling, sometimes not so much. So you guys may look at this and be like, dude, you're way off. But anyways, all right, so that looks like, oh Lord. All right, so we should be right on the edge of our hole here. Yep, so our truss is right here, right? So that's what we want. And then we're going to mark it as good as we can with our dying Sharpie, apparently. Oh, Lord. Okay, and then we'll keep the ears on here just for giggles. Oh, that looks crooked. Whatever, we'll run with it. Okay. So we've got it marked relatively well. Now, since we know that our truss is a little bit closer, I think it's like almost perfectly in line. This is definitely crooked, so I'll cut it better, and the light will cover any marks that I made, okay? What we're gonna use, since I know there's no pipe in the wall, there's no wire, there's nothing crazy, we're gonna use our multi-tool here, and then we're just gonna cut it right along the truss line here. Let's go here first. All right, pop that out. Perfect. Our truss is right here. It couldn't have been cut any better, honestly. Pretty proud of myself there. Okay, bunny, catch. Oh, whatever. All right, now you want to just kind of beat that in there. If this was y'all's homes, I would be a lot more careful. But it's my house. I don't really care. I'll fix it. All right, there we go. I'm going to go up in the attic again. I'm going to punch my wires through. Okay, I have mentioned this before in videos, but it is worth noting again. Rectangular boxes in a home generally require 632 screws, okay? That's the size of the screw. Round boxes usually use 832 screws. So the light's going to come with 832 screws because it's assuming that there's a round box. But in order to hang these lights, we had to use a rectangular box. So we're going to need 632 screws for this, okay? All right, so when we're doing this, yeah, you can water your plant just a little bit. Just trickle it in there until it's moist. Okay, so you're gonna point your screw upward, make it a little bit easier. You know we're in the truss because we saw it. And then we're gonna, it's kind of tough, but you wanna make sure you get a good grip. You don't wanna screw it in too far because it'll warp the box. You wanna get it just tight enough. And I need to change the settings on this, make it a little bit easier on myself. Okay. There we go. Now we're gonna go up in the attic and push our wire through. All right, so we have our other box in. We got both boxes relatively aligned. They're on the same truss, so there's really nothing I can do about it. If it's not completely in line, then that's because the truss is crooked, and that's a whole nother issue that I am incapable of dealing with. Make sure our switch is off here just for giggles. We'll go ahead and just double, triple, quadruple check that everything is power off. Okay, now our bracket, one thing I was worried about was whether or not these 632 screws would work, but they definitely will. We don't need washers or anything, so we should be good. Okay, so go ahead and grab our impact. This is magnetic, so it should hold, hopefully. And then we line it up. Oh, line it up better than that. Watch our ground. Okay, we're gonna temporarily hold it there. You don't wanna over tighten this because if you warp this, so with this sealing, it's kinda off. So notice that light fixture spins on here. So we need to make sure that we don't tighten this down too much and warp this bracket. That would be very, very bad for us. We need to line this up better. Oh, that's not good. Where are we at? Right here. Okay. Line it up. We're gonna just make it flush. That fixture weighs next to nothing, so we don't need some fancy thing. We just need it to hold it flush, which it does, okay? Now, you don't really need more than 6 inches of wire hanging out of your box, so I always prefer 6 inches of wire hanging out of the box. So we can just guess at that. Whether power is on or off, and you know for sure it's off, I don't care. You cut all of these together, it's gonna boom in your face if things are on. If you cut them separately, not so much. But if you have no insulation on your handles and you cut that hot wire, then you're gonna feel it. So just be careful, make sure everything's off. So we're gonna strip this down. This is 14 gauge wire. We're gonna strip it about that much because we're using those Wagos on that light fixture. So they just kind of snap in there. So nothing crazy. Okay. All right, so we're gonna go get our light. We're gonna make sure that these are straight. So we'll use our lineman's pliers to kind of straighten this out so they slide into the Wagos better. If they're curved, it's gonna be a pain in the butt. All right, we're gonna go get our light. It's right here, and we're gonna put it up. Whoever made this light is pretty cool. They gave you a little hook here so you can not have to do this one-handed. I've had to do many a light fixture one-handed. It's a pain in the butt. So they give you this little hooky guy. I guess it's a safety measure too in case the thing falls, but you can hook it there and then you can do everything you need to do. So let's do our grounds first as usual. Always grounds first. This is the one for the bracket. Slide it in, make sure, tug on it, make sure it's a good connection. All right, we have 2 spots left. So if there were multiple wires in this box, we would most likely have to clip all these wires down and make joints with them. But because we have just enough space in that one, we're gonna have a space left over in our neutral one because we don't have another neutral. We just had that extra ground on the bracket. Okay, put it in, tug on it, make sure it's good. Make sure no copper sticking out the bottom side of it. We don't need any exposed copper. Okay, that's a good connection. And now for our power wires. Put it in, tug on it nice and tight. Good to go. Okay. Nice and tight. We're gonna put all this up inside our box that we added for this. Make sure you don't cut any of the wires when you're getting them up in there. Make sure nothing pops out on you, that wouldn't be good either. Okay. It's all nice and snug in there. Shove that guy in there. And then we need to see where we're at with this. Looks like right about here. Got one of it in. Okay, let's see here. What's the issue? Oh, we're scraping the ceiling. That's not good. Okay, we want to do this lightly. Okay, one down. Wipe it off a little bit. Shakes a little bit, but that's because it just twists onto that bracket. But looks good, all in all. All right, I'm gonna do the other one, and then we'll turn them on and see what they look like. They look pretty straight to me. That one's a little dented, but I don't care. Again, fingerprints, not a big deal. All right, let's go figure out how to program these things. I'm pretty sure these are Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, so let's find out. So they work. But they do it to attach to Wi-Fi, so I'm gonna go ahead and hook them up real quick, and then we'll get back to it. I'll show you all the different cool features they have. All right, so these are actually really cool. You can pick different themes for them. It's actually really cool. We can do like a red, white, and blue for the 4th of July. That was just yesterday, America's 250th. It's actually really cool. Look at that. It actually looks like the flag. Really cool lights. Highly recommend. Yeah. All right. Well, we did good. They're installed and they work. That's all you can ask for. All right. I hope that was helpful for somebody. Full disclosure, whenever I pulled those lights down and the electrician that installed them didn't put a box in the ceiling, I was probably just going to cancel the video, but it was a good opportunity to show improvisation. It's what most DIYing and homeownership is. You run into things that should have been done one way, turns out they weren't, and then you have to try and find a way to make it work and make it work within code and to where it's done right every time, right? So it was a good learning opportunity for everyone. So please go to homeownerpal.com, check out all the cool stuff we're building. We really put a lot of hard work into it. We're continuing to do so, and specifically built just for the homeowner, okay? So homeownerpal.com. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, anything, you can contact us, 423-HOPLINE, 423-467-5463. It's Hopline because of Homeowner Pal. So hop, bunnies, that's the theme. So yeah, or you can hit us up on admin@homeownerpal.com, or you can just give us some feedback on the website, okay? So homeownerpal.com. Thank you guys so much.